It took a while, but she finally apologized. Who? Kayla Nicole.
Kayla Nicole had a situation the other week where obviously she was going back and forth with Taylor Swifties fans called the Swifties, and it didn't end up in her favor. They went and found a lot of these old tweets in which she was disrespecting a bunch of gays, Hispanics, Asians, Indians, and also black women. That's the most important part. And when these tweets came out, she basically deleted her Twitter. All right. And she said this: I want to take a moment to sincerely apologize for the hurtful tweets I posted so many years ago. Seeing them resurface last week has been incredibly difficult. In reading them now, I'm ashamed that I ever thought or spoke that way. They were ignorant, hurtful, and completely wrong. The woman I am today would never use those words or express those kinds of views. Over the years, I've seen firsthand how cruel and harmful online hate can be, and I would never want to add to that world of pain in any form. I have since deleted those tweets and my ex account entirely because I refuse to keep that energy alive or contribute to a cycle of hate. I take full responsibility for what I posted, and I'm truly sorry to hurt anyone I may have hurt. My heart, values, and perspective are completely rooted in empathy, love, and respect for others. I can't change the past, but I will continue showing through my actions who I've become and what I stand for today. So, of course, you had people who weighed in on this particular apology.
So let's talk about her apology. In her apology, Kayla says she takes full responsibility for what she said back then. She admitted that her comments were insensitive and it doesn't reflect who she is today. She's mentioned that she's grown a lot since those tweets and that she's learned more about empathy and accountability, and that she is genuinely sorry for anyone that she hurt by her words. Honestly, I think the apology sounds genuine, but it's all about what happens next. Because growth isn't just about saying you're sorry, it's about showing change through your actions.
And then what was interesting was this lady, you're always going to get with liberals, and I would say that Kayla Nicole is definitely that. She basically went and tried to spin this to make it a white or black thing.
You've got Charlie Kirk, who was lauded for being just rude, a podcast bro who had horribly discriminatory views. You've got Taylor Swift herself, who has done some more than questionable things. You've got Travis Kelce, who has posted some things and people say, oh, that's just how they talk. You've got the President of the United States, who's a felon and says horrible things at all times. You've got Taylor Swift, who dated 7-year-old when she was in her 20s. We've got, there are all of these things that happen that are never addressed, right? No one wants to talk about it. The moment a black woman gets caught being prejudiced, it's, oh my gosh, how can you stand for this? She needs to take accountability, blah, blah. Did Taylor address the necklace? I know she pulled it down, but did she say anything about it?
So in her honest opinion, Kayla Nicole is no different than the other people. So if we're going to hold her accountable, why not hold Charlie Kirk accountable? Taylor Swift herself accountable? And I can understand that, but number one, those people are not on trial here. This is Kayla Nicole. And some of the most hateful tweets that Kayla Nicole said were against black women themselves, okay? And that's kind of where the bubble burst for, this sort of racism and white supremacy sort of argument that you just try to use for everything. The cycle of hate came from black women themselves about how they looked, how overweight black women looked, calling their hair nappy. And that was the issue because Kayla Nicole is on this, movement to protect and love black women, but her actions show something different. As recently as, just on the Angel Reese podcast, she talked about the fact that she was dealing with Iman Shumpert, and Iman Shumpert dumped her, and Teyana Taylor, was who he replaced Kayla Nicole with, and she dressed up as her for Halloween. Now, Teyana Nicole did not know Kayla Nicole and had no idea that he was messing with her, but she took a shot at Teyana Taylor by dressing up as her, by being petty. And so if it's love black women and protect black women, how do you explain that behavior? That behavior is seen as incredibly cruel, incredibly stupid, incredibly insensitive. And this was recently, and she was on Angel Reese's podcast talking about this as if it was nothing. But then on the other hand, when it's Travis Kelce not dealing with you anymore and going over to Taylor Swift, all of a sudden you want black women to support you. Oh, black girl, you are important, you are special. now you're using that for sympathy points and you're trying to use some level of a racism card. The reality is that Kayla Nicole wants to be so black, but you were in an interracial relationship and then the white guy ended up going back white, and now you're trying to use that as some sort of crutch to your own defense. And that's why a lot of the liberal arguments just fail to work when you try to paint that brush for everybody, because sometimes that dog just won't hunt. And that's what we're seeing here. Kayla Nicole has showed a level of aggression towards black women while at the same time saying protect black women. Now, again, I was young, said some things. I've said things last year that I'm not proud of this year. So again, anybody can make mistakes and say that. But if you're now talking about love black women and protect black women, your attitude today does not show that you're really saying that. And ultimately, what I honestly believe is that you are basically, trying to get your numbers up on your podcast because now you got to compete. It's hard out here. You're not attached to Travis Kelce. Nobody really likes what you do, and you can't keep people talking about you in any other way. You have no real value. And so this is why your beef with Taylor Swift in those situations go even forth.
It took a while, but she finally apologized. Who? Kayla Nicole. She calls herself a media personality, but we know her as Travis Kelce's ex. For Halloween, Kayla dressed up as Toni Braxton, kind of a middle finger to Taylor Swift and the Swifties. I made a video about how Kayla's body is fab and that this was the ultimate clapback. Some of the Swifties were not pleased. So some of them found Kayla's old tweets, and they are not good. Back in the day, some people used Twitter as if it was a journal, which probably wasn't the best decision because some of your innermost thoughts. Let's take a moment to review some of Kayla's resurfaced tweets, and you might want to pause to read. She had issues with my people, your people, our people, all the people. Let's start with the Asians. Hispanics? Check. The LGBTQ community? Check. She loves them, but not enough to be her own child. Opinions on religion? Check. Thoughts on President Obama? Check. Does she like citrus? Thoughts on black people? Sure, why not? Check. She shared her thoughts on how taken men are more attractive. She had an issue with Kobe Bryant's wife, Vanessa. Let's throw in a little bit of violence, because why not?
So again, this is just going back and forth, talking about what kind of person that she was back in the day. And again, like I said, we all can make mistakes. But believing that Kayla Nicole somehow is not the same person, I can't buy that. Because while she might be more politically engineered onto the left, if it's a man that she wants, and she talked about this in one of the tweets, which is nothing is more sexy than dealing with somebody else's man. She said that, all right? And so when she said this, how can you know if that's not true? I mean, she talked about this in general. Look at this. It says, I confess, a taken man is more attractive than a single one. I don't know, something about the competition, shaking my head. Well, we know that you still feel that way based on what you did with Teyana Taylor for Halloween. You dressed up as her for Halloween. Like, it's insane. But basically, what these ladies are looking for, as far as Kayla Nicole, you're out of the spotlight. You're 34, 35. You no longer have access to a high value guy. You're out here really making it on your own now. And your window is small. We're going to just call it for what it is. Kayla Nicole's window is not big at all. And so when your window isn't, when you don't have a whole lot of hope in your window and, you're mid-30s, you can't get guys, and then you have a hard time making money on your own because, again, you haven't made any real value out there in the industry. You're just, what a lot of people are doing in America right now, rinse and repeat what somebody else is doing, get a podcast, get 5,000 views, 10,000 views. You're not a real content creator. And so life is tough right now. And the future for Kayla Nicole is very uncertain. You're just looking for sponsorships and brand deals like everybody else, and then you don't return the value on those brand deals. The future looks bleak. In comparisons to Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, their future looks very bright because they actually do things that people want, unlike Kayla Nicole. I mean, it's one thing to look good, and it's one thing to do good things for other people. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea D. Jackson back at it again. Another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.